Happy Thursday and welcome to today's special, truly very special episode of Tech Bites powered by Veeam. I am Rick Vanover, the Rickatron, and I've got my steady number one with me, Kirsten Stoner. How you doing today, Kirsten?
I'm doing good, Rick. It's Friday Eve, and I could not be any happier.
The week we've had, yo, the week we have had. Also back on the show with us is Matt Crape. How you doing today, Matt?
Doing great, Rick. Thanks for having me on. Always enjoy coming back.
Yeah, we've got a real special episode today, and Kirsten and I, as well as Jeffrey, the producer, are here in Central Ohio. Matt is in the Toronto, Canada area. Big shout out to Chris, also in Toronto. See him on the chat. Let us know. We're back on 4 streams now, by the way, quadcasting. So definitely let us know where you're from. Felicia on our social media team in Texas will pick that up and relay that to us so we can call up the map. We love doing that map application. All right, I mentioned we have a special show, and I'm going to do something. I got permission for this one, okay? So let's go on over to the content that I got shared up. The official topic here is talking about Veeam Data Platform 12.2. Huge release. Now, right around the horn, I'm going to let Kirsten pick her favorite new thing, then Matt, then me. So Kirsten, top of mind, what's your favorite thing about Veeam Data Platform 12.2?
That's so hard. There's just so much good stuff.
You only can pick one.
I know, but like I want to, call out my favorite, Veeam ONE enhancements. But I also think just talking with Emily and you these last couple days, really, just the support for MongoDB backups, I think is really sticking out to me, just being able to back that up. And then also being able to use the Explorer to do restores. The Explorers have been, supporting our application backups for a while now, ever since version 6.5. So is that true?
Yes, very good. Very good.
So I just really, anytime we can add more capabilities to back up these applications that our businesses are using that support their operations and processes, it makes me excited to be able to do that. So that's my favorite feature.
All right, Matt, pick one. Top of mind, what's your favorite VDP 12.2?
I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to say that I really am looking forward to, or I have been looking forward to, the expansion in hypervisor support, right? We've got the Proxmox support that's just growing like gangbusters. We've got the additions that we've made to our Nutanix support. That's brought, it's opened up so many windows for customers out there. So really just that continual expansion of, hey, you know what? Yeah, we've done VMware and Hyper-V for a long time, but we're still adding more support for more hypervisors.
All right, I'll go small but mighty. And that's the new, what we call direct to archive capability, where image-based backups going to the scale-up backup repository can go performance tier, archive. They're not required to go to capacity tier. That's really attractive for the larger data sets. So picking 3. Speaking of picks, this is where I'm going wild and crazy today on the show. No, do not adjust your television or your internet connection. We are going to talk football. I'm serious. We're going to talk football. So I'm going to hit the clock. We got all the Canadian and U.S. Football League games going on. I'm going to give you my picks, but I want to know your picks. So hit it in the chat. No, seriously, this is what we're talking about here. All right, I got a minute. My picks, Thursday night, tonight's game. I got Miami up north. I'm picking the BC team over the Argos on that one on Saturday. I've got Ottawa and Montreal, Winnipeg and Edmonton are idle. Now Sunday, full slate on the early games. Big difference between the early and the late. In fact, I think the late games really get with the kind of what you would think of a normal prediction. But I'm going to pick first. I got Dallas. I got Detroit. I got Indy. I've got New York Jets. I got San Francisco, Seattle. I've got Washington on that game. And I've got, who do I have over? I got LA Chargers there. I got Cleveland and Baltimore on these early games. And on the late games, got to hurry up. I've got Arizona, Pittsburgh, KC, Chicago on the Monday night game. I have Philadelphia. I think that we are going to see some interesting games. All right, now I got to relay my producer's picks. Jeffrey, who makes this happen, he had an opinion here. He's got Dallas. He's got Cincy. He's got New England by a little bit over Seattle. He's got Washington. He's got San Diego, Baltimore, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Houston, and Miami as all winners. Please let me know what in the chat. Who do you pick? Who's your team? All right, now maybe next week I'll go to college games. I'm not sure. But I'm going to put Kirsten up. Kirsten, you don't have to pick them all, but go for it.
Okay, well, the time started, so I gotta go. I only have so much time. Okay, so Thursday, it is a hard game because I like Miami and I like Buffalo. I mean, who am I supposed to pick? So I'm gonna go. If my one friend is a big Buffalo fan, so and Buffalo's got Josh Allen, so we're gonna go with Buffalo on that one. The Canada games, I'm gonna go Toronto because I love me some Toronto, and then Sunday, I'm only going to pick a few here. So I'm going to go with San Francisco over Minnesota because I love the 49ers. I also love San Francisco. I'm a big Browns fan, so Cleveland for sure. And then Sunday, Los Angeles Rams, definitely. And then I'm also going to choose Houston over Chicago because CJ Stroud, OH. Yeah, and then we're doing the Phillies over Atlanta because I like the Eagles. I don't know.
Right on time, Kirsty. Rock on. And picking up Chris's, he's got Buffalo and Toronto as well. And Skull, we got a Skull representing Minnesota out there. All right, so Brittany, shout out for sure. All right, Crape, you ready? You didn't know this was coming, but I'm throwing you in. All right.
I appreciate the Canadian content on here. So I'm actually going to go against Chris on this one. I'm going to choose Miami and BC, followed by Ottawa, Montreal, my hometown. Can't turn my back on them. Let's go with Dallas, Tampa, Green Bay, Tennessee, San Francisco, Seattle, home of the Veeam HQ now, New York, Carolina, Jacksonville, and Baltimore. Then rounding things off, let's go for Arizona, Denver, Cincinnati, and Houston. And Monday, let's go Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia looks really strong. I mean, I think this is just fun, right? We want to just do something a little bit extra, and we might go to some of the problem with college is there's a lot, right? So I might take the top 25, but this handful of pro games. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, those who participated. Jim's picking the herd and the Pats, so thank you for that. Really appreciate everyone having some fun here. But back to business. What are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about Veeam Data Platform. A whole bunch of new stuff on database and cloud stuff. Of course, the new hypervisor. Already had everybody pick their picks of their favorites, but this grid down here is big and thorough. So we're really excited about that. All right, we're going to go a little bit wild, a little bit crazy again on the show. And I'm going to start with KB 4600 and a big ask to Felicia, our producer, if you could push this link out on the streams that permit it. Now, not all of the streams let us to push out a notification, but this is an easy one. Veeam KB 4600. I'll start with you, Matt. This is a very practical way for those who use the product on how to upgrade, because I feel like we talk about what's new, and I'm going to get to what's new, but this is the kind of if you're administering the product, this is where you need to start.
Absolutely. This is kind of your one-stop starting spot, right? It's got the documentation that you need here. It's got the build numbers that you need, all the release information. Thinking back to when I was a Veeam administrator, this is a perfect place to start it. Whatever I need, if it's not on this page, I can easily find it.
Yeah, and I do want to highlight the two kind of readables here, release notes and what's new. I would actually recommend you open up both of those. I already have the what's new open. So let's take a look here. The release notes, known issues. That's actually where I would recommend you start, because there's a few things about some of the corner cases that might come up. And then secondly, like also with some of the new stuff, right? It just kind of details what is or is not supported. In this case, OVS open switching is not supported, for example. Couple of notes on instant recovery, and you might say, hold on, I didn't think instant recovery was included with the Proxmox. That's going to VMware. And by the way, here's a trick. If you are moving to Proxmox, and you say, oh, I want instant recovery. Here's a tip that's kind of elevated from our systems engineers team. Add the Hyper-V role to your Veeam backup server, and you'll have an instant recovery from Proxmox to that Hyper-V host. And then the thought is you can take a backup and migrate it on the slow train, lack of a better word, back to the Proxmox host. So there's some really good ways of combining existing recovery types. Definitely want to check out these release notes. And then let's see, that's 47 pages, and it's really important to note that it's by category. So different areas of what you're backing up. And if you go down, there's little things about, well, if you're not using CDP or VMware Cloud on AWS, or if you're not using Hyper-V, you can kind of skip through some of these different sections, but it is worth the sectional read. And if I remember right, yeah, it has like the requirements where we start up as well. So always a good read of that and the what's new, right? And I think that's a big place to start. What's new from Proxmox to what is supported. Again, that's all available in that KB article. And I think, Matt, you had a hand in actually writing or editing this. Is that correct?
Yes. So, a little bit of a fanboy moment. Once again, as a former Veeam customer, I literally used to, look forward to the release notes day, the what's new day. If it was happening over, around the Christmas holidays, I'd go into the office, physically print it off because I'm old like that, grab my highlighter, go through there and read it all. So cool thing now is I'm kind of on the flip side. I get some advanced notice of this, get to go through, get to make some comments, maybe some suggestions for clarity. But yeah, at the end of the day, one of my favorite documents to read.
Indeed. So again, KB 4600, great place to start. But then I also thought I'd put myself under the time clock here yet again, and I'm actually going to do an upgrade right here on the show. I have a 12.1 system. I'm going to show you what you actually do for an upgrade to 12.2. So I've downloaded the ISO, which is in that KB 4600, and then you start with the splash screen, Veeam Backup and Replication 12.2. Let's do it. Now, ideally, you're upgrading Enterprise Manager if you're using it and upgrading Veeam ONE ahead of time. But this is the one that a lot of people get kind of concerned or nervous about. I can tell you it's pretty straightforward. So upgrading Veeam Backup and Replication, let's do it. And then other things like upgrading the console will come after that. And the reason why I want to just show this to everybody, because there's a very important option in the installation that I'll admit, even I kind of used to overlook, but I really want to encourage everyone to consider this. As part of the way that your license is put into Veeam Backup and Replication, there's a very important choice ahead of time. And it also then goes into things of usage reporting and more, in the sense of you can oversubscribe your VUL if you had to, or you also can participate in telemetry, but awesomer, you could also use the Veeam AI Assistant. So a whole bunch of cool things come with this very important choice. But as I launch this wizard here, and this is real time in a system in the lab, Matt, I know you used to be an admin. Sorry to keep putting you on the spot here. Kirsten, you're next. Don't go far. You've done upgrades in the past. What's kind of your experience with a Veeam upgrade?
It could be deceptively simple. And what I mean by that is there's a lot that goes on with these upgrades. There's a lot going on underneath the hood. New bits are being installed. Maybe the database is being updated. But that's not always apparent because with this wizard-driven approach, you just kind of go through, you hit next, finish, right? The wizard does so much of the heavy lifting for you that it may seem like, yeah, it's a small upgrade, but there's a lot going on underneath the hood.
Yeah, it is. It's going to upgrade the database level and individual services and stuff. And we're going to kick this off here. And now I remember this particular system. I probably am a bad boy here. I think I don't even have, I only have 2 CPUs. So it's not exactly the best specimen here for a live demo. But nonetheless, here we are. License agreement, pretty standard here. This will identify the versioning change. So I'm going from what was previous to what is now current 12.2.0.334. And this is a nice one here. upgrade the remote components. So if you've ever done the update and then go in and it's like, hey, I got a proxy services, transport services, this will take care of this during that as well. The only thing it won't do is anything that requires the interactive password, like a Veeam hardened repository. All right, this is the one that I wanted to highlight. So many times I would come in here and just point it to the LIC file. But I really want to draw your attention to and suggest everyone do this sign in. Number one, this will allow the Veeam AI assistant to work because it needs this to validate the account. And why does it need that? Because there's actually cost of goods sold to that. We're using AI, so there's a cost. And then the other option is optionally to enable usage reporting. So this will also, by the way, if you exceed your count, you'll have some extra grace, right? So it's kind of worth the juice. And then you can get into the business of shaping this type of traffic to only allow the Veeam server to get to veeam.com. All right, so let me do this and let me show you what you're talking about. And then while I'm typing, because I can't type and do passwords at the same time, Kirsten, any comments on your side about this part of the upgrade process?
I don't think so. I think this is pretty cool. You know, you can just log in using your account and it can automatically see your license file. That's pretty cool. I would say that I upgraded my Veeam ONE server and it's very similar structure and wizard. So, you know, you're like these steps that you're seeing here, even with Veeam ONE, it's not going to get too complicated for you as well. So there's that. And then, yeah, I updated my Veeam backup and replication server. I think, what was it, like last Friday? No issues. I might have had to like maybe install like a new, like maybe a framework or something like that on my
.NET, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was .NET, but I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to be wrong and people were like, what is she talking about? So I yeah, so there's that.
Yeah,
So
it'll tell you right here. I'm rather certain the next, before we actually hit and go into it, and then there's kind of 6 distinct steps for it. Oh, we got someone tuning in from India. Welcome, Atul. I'm going to give you a like. Rock on. But basically, what it's going to do is assess this system. And then Chris has a great question. Are you able to sign in after the install? Not interactively. I think you can change it, Chris, but it's not necessarily intuitive. So it's kind of a one-timer to authorize that license, as I understand it. So good question there. I would like to play with it. While we're waiting for these things to go, I do want to also let everyone know that next week I want to highlight that we have some really cool stuff coming in afterwards on the show, and I can't forget to talk about Veeam Data Resilience Summit. That's something that it's going to be broadcasting on the 1st of October. So, thank you, Jeffrey. Look at that. So check that out. It's all over the internets. You can't miss it. But anyways, check this out and we will be good to go. Now, here we go with this pre-installation pre-flight check. Check this out. I need to do a reboot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this is like the worst case scenario in the sense of if you do this type of install, you may have to do a reboot. Now, while that's rebooting, I do want to take a quick look at a system that's already running here. So again, when you do this type of update, then down here at the bottom, you can always kind of see what your version is, 12.2.0.334. And then right off the bat, I just want to highlight that some of these new things start to appear, right? So Matt mentioned his favorite Proxmox type of capability here. So this is good stuff, really easy to see that we have these new types of jobs in here. And we're going to let that reboot go. We're going to come back to that one. But Jeffrey, let's go 3 up for a second because I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to have Kirsten get ready. Kirsten,
oh yeah,
get ready because I want to show you something that's really cool, really new that comes in Veeam ONE, and then we're going to come back and finish that install. So Kirsten will be soon showing, and I got to roll with our producers here, everyone. You don't understand how awesome that this team does here. Let's see what we got here. And then we should be rolling the feed in Let's give that just a second. I think I'm switching awfully quick for the producers to do this. So basically, we all are recording on Teams, but it goes out on the socials a different way. And while Jeffrey builds that look, a question from Emmanuel Ramar, Postgres or MS SQL is preferred? Oh, that's a good one. Before we start the demo, Kirsten, I will say this. Ilami, I would recommend if you're a new deployment, go Postgres. If you're upgrading, maybe stay with SQL for another version or so. I don't know, Matt, if you have any advice.
No, I would definitely echo that. Part of the reason why we moved away from SQL is so many people leverage the SQL Express, which has limitations from capacity as well as performance.
Mm-hmm.
So moving to Postgres really removes a lot of that stuff. Do you have to migrate? No, but especially if you're starting net new, might as well start off with Postgres.
Yep. I like really consistent. So that's our advice. All right, Kirsten, we see you. It looks good. Take it away. Tell me this cool new razzle dazzle that we're looking at.
Awesome. So within the latest release of Veeam Data Platform, Veeam ONE added more observability for Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365 version 8. So not only are you going to be able to, monitor the Linux proxies more thoroughly and proxy pools more thoroughly, you're also going to gain this new dashboard, this restore operator audit dashboard. And this is going to give you visibility into your restore processes, what was restored and who was the restore operator. So even just taking a look at this really great view here, now we're going to test out my zoom in skills.
Mm-hmm.
I can see who's restoring in my environment and how many restore processes or restore sessions they triggered. I can see, the latest activity. So how long ago was it that they were doing these restores, and which organization they are restoring from. And then I can also see this recent restored objects, right? What type of objects are being restored, and if it was saved or viewed, or if it was sent, I can come in here and see that as well. But that's not it, because each one of these widgets is customizable. So even taking a look at this first widget here, I can come in here and I can edit this widget. And then I can choose some different settings. So I can regroup by restore sessions, or I can actually group by restored objects, and I can change the period that I want it to analyze for me as well. And then we have this really cool report that has been added into Veeam ONE as well, the restore operator activity report. And I went ahead and ran this report because sometimes, with some of these reports, it might take a little bit of time for them to generate. And I know that we want to keep these pretty short and sweet. So I can see, what restores by type happened and by application. And then similar to the restore operator activity report within Veeam Backup and Replication, you're going to be able to drill down and see, the restored object, when it started, what type it was, and who was restoring it. And what I thought was pretty interesting here was just this view right here. So I can see, let me see if I can. So I can see like when the restore started, which type it was. So if they saved it or if they just viewed it, which we know, if a restore operator was just viewing a file, why were they just viewing that? Could be, depending on the file, could be a security risk there as well. So being able to have that visibility into restore process is really important, because if you're a big enterprise, maybe you have a lot of restore operators in your environment and you want to keep an eye on what data they're accessing. And even when you think about maybe you're utilizing Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365 from a service provider perspective, this can also be very helpful to see and identify the restores happening per organization, right? So really giving you that observability that we want to have within Veeam ONE. And before I go as well, I just want to highlight one of my favorite parts about the dashboards is that you have the ability to share these dashboards with people within your organization, relevant stakeholders. So you can do that through a direct link here, and then you can also send these. So if you want to send this to maybe your boss every day, or maybe you want this to be sent to your email every day, you can actually, set this up to be sent to you. So you don't necessarily have to jump into the Veeam ONE web client to see it. You can access it right through your email. So just one of those settings that I enjoy, as well as the other setting I love about dashboards is that you actually can make dashboards, which we don't have enough time to, really walk through that today. But say for Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365, there's actually 2 dashboards available. One that gives you an overview of your backups, and then one that gives you a restore of your data, right? So if there are certain widgets that you like from the backup view and then the restore view, you can actually create a dashboard and put those together. So you don't have to switch between views. You can really create and customize your own views. So this is some really exciting stuff. I've been hearing about this dashboard coming within Veeam ONE for a while now, and it's finally here, and it's compatible with Veeam ONE 12.2 and Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365 version 8. So then if you're using those 2 products together, you'll get access to this dashboard. Isn't that some cool stuff? Some cool visibility.
It is absolutely fantastic, Kirsten. That is really cool. And I will tell you what, you impressed Mr. Ramar, because he asked in the chat, is this included in the base license, or does this need an additional purchase? And I want to pass that question over to you, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is part of the Veeam Data Platform Advanced. It's worth noting that Advanced is more than just Veeam ONE, though. It does bring in some other aspects. We saw this. I love this dashboard. Veeam ONE's got the Veeam Threat Center, but it also unlocks things like KMS capabilities, Yara scans within VBR, and it also opens up sort of the door to some of the third-party expansion integrations that we have with like Splunk, and it was announced Palo Alto earlier this year. So advanced licensing is required, yes, but with advanced you get more than just Veeam ONE.
Okay, outstanding. Jeffrey, if you could go back to 3 up, and Kirsten, thank you so much.
Stop sharing.
Hey, no, there's so much more to share. This is a highly complicated production we're doing here today, and trust me, the internet is interesting because we had a little scare right before. And Jeffrey, I am going to go back really quickly. I know that we're almost done. I just want to close the loop when we get a chance. If we could load up the other share that has that lab. Yes. So after you do that reboot, you're just going to ask what accounts. You can get granular. You can identify your existing database engine, to the one question from Alami about SQL or Postgres. I'm using Postgres in this one, right? So when you do an upgrade, it already is determined for you, which is different than a new install. By default, it's going to be Postgres. You have the option to change it. But when you do these updates, it's going to say, hey, we're going to update that configuration of Veeam to this newer version. You want to do that automatically? Let's do it. And basically, once all those checks are checked, so I did that reboot for the framework that I needed. I'm back up, and I just want to highlight that these upgrades are very easy to do. And later today, because Jim is on the show, I want to highlight that Jim, who's one of the viewers, there we go, click upgrade, and it goes for 6 steps. Jim just posted a great article on the Community Hub that actually is featured on the Veeam Community Recap, how to do it for service providers through automation, by the way. Thank you, Jim, for that. You did get featured on the Community Hub for that. So what happens here is this will go through and complete the upgrade. Now, I want to say it's about 15 or 20 minutes right here on a low resource system. Okay, so as you saw, I only have 2 CPUs because I only use this system to do the AI. So this is a quick look of how easy it is. And, again, KB 4600 is where you need to go to get started for that. So that is a quick look at 12.2, and let's start to bring it home. I got 3 things I want to highlight for everyone. Number 1, the Veeam Data Resilience Summit is coming up very, very soon. In fact, on LinkedIn and all the socials, the team has just pushed out a great bunch of serious and also funny videos from me and my team of how to tune in to Veeam ONE Data Resilience Summit. I know, Kirsten, you put up a lot of work helping out with that. That was fun. We got through it. And next week, we're not taking an industry insights episode on Tuesday, but we will be back. I made a funny title, go figure. On Tech Bites next week, a week from today, the title is What to Expect When You're Expecting to Switch to Veeam. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm proud of myself for that, friends. All right.
Gold star.
Gold star. Maybe 2. No, silver. Anyways. Hey, Matt, thank you so much for being with me here again on Tech Bites.
Oh, thanks for having me. Always my pleasure.
Kirsten, thank you for rocking that really cool preview. Well, it's out now. Really cool show of that awesome Veeam ONE capability. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks. I am so happy you let me show Veeam ONE. This is awesome. Perfect day for me.
Right on, Crouton. I love it. And big thank you to Jeffrey and Felicia, our producers. They do some incredible magic wizardry. They make me look good, and they have good football picks. So that's awesome. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.